what works or more, we're only notified to who is it. Oh, good. So they so as long as it's not extra expense, well, her ask Gretchen for a legal opinion on it, because I'm not a higher duty. No hard questions.
Hi, Butch.
I have two kids.
Okay, I will call this meeting to order. We'll have roll call beginning with Brandon.
Brandon Holmes for Sheriff Tommy Johnson.
Rick Warren.
David Hooton.
Carrie Bloomert.
Brian Mon.
Miles Davidson for Kevin Kelly.
Larry Stein.
And
Oops,
it was
I'm sorry, Butch
properly
Freeman.
posted on January 18th, and we'll have the assessor Larry Stein lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of both December 16th and December 30th?
Motion to approve.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any individual consideration on the consent docket? If not, is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Our monthly financial report, as I understand it, is being yielded in deference to the time of the lengthy presentation we're about to receive. So if there's just not any questions of the clerk,
Motion to receive.
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Compton. BET.
Sorry about that. We have one new item added to the watch list this month. It is on the attachment. It's the bottom line item. The assessor's office has had a retirement payout of approximately $22,700. We put that on the watch list so that they can monitor their payroll through the rest of the fiscal year. And if it becomes necessary for a transfer from reserve, we can look at that later in the year. We do have a recommendation on item 36 that I would be happy to address when you get to that item.
Okay, for now, if there's not a question, is there a motion to receive his report?
Motion to receive.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Wilkerson.
Good morning. Just a quick update on medical and prescription claims. We're 1.7 million under where we were last fiscal year, so the plan's doing well. But we see an alarming trend currently with COVID resurfacing. We have 3 members in the hospital. One was medi-flighted out of state because there's no COVID bed, there's no ICU beds around. So just keep that in mind as we move forward. Our COVID claims really ramped up last fiscal year in April. So we started seeing a lot of those big costs. I'm expecting some of those to happen again now. And that's all I have unless there are any questions.
You say it had to be medevaced outside the state?
Correct. There's no ICU beds around in the surrounding states. We had to medevac all the way to New Mexico.
Pretty much what the paper's been reporting every day.
Yeah, and we have the only Trauma One center in Oklahoma City in the entire state. So
And we've had 3 employees or dependents in the hospital.
Or do you, and you may not know the answer on this one, but was the one that had to be medevaced out, was that person fully inoculated? Had they received the vaccine, or do you know?
I do not know.
Okay.
motion to receive.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Cody, you wish to speak to item 36 for us?
Sure. This is a request for a reimbursement of expenses that were COVID-related medical expenses incurred by the employee benefits account. The amount is $328,182.30. So what we're requesting, what BET is recommending is a transfer from the CARES account to employee benefits to supplement that expense.
Motion to receive. I'm approved. I'm sorry.
Second. Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
What does that leave on that? So does that close out that account, or?
Not quite. We still have $159,553.04 kind of earmarked for medical expenses that we're anticipating trickling through. The sheriff and the juvenile department have a total of $41,099.05 of unspent hazard pay that was approved for them. So that money is still available. And then there's $18,042.13 that the sheriff's department had approved before for some other purchases that haven't been finalized yet. Sheriff's Department is doing an analysis to see if they're going to still need any of that $18,000. If they do not, and the $41,099 for that hazard pay is actually going to be lapsed, then on top of the money held, the $159,000 for employee benefits, on top of that, we would have $59,141.18.
250. Don't you mean?
No, sir.
Okay.
And
We initially were talking about holding the 250, but I think at your last budget board meeting, there was another item to send a little bit over to the jail trust.
and at this point, are we, correct me if I'm wrong, are we only allowed to pay for things that occurred before December 31st?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's where, as our employee benefits, we'll start seeing things trickle in from, last year. There is a lag sometimes in that. So the $59,000 is not available for new spend, but it's available for reimbursements of expenditures that have already occurred.
Any other questions? Not. Item 37, this is a transfer of cash appropriation from PBA Reserve to the County Capital Improvement Fund.
A motion to approve.
Mr. Ravitz, are you excited?
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I do have some questions on this particular item, though. Okay, 1.7 million. Where are we? This is on the 6th floor project,
Yes.
right? So where are we on that project?
One of these years.
Is
Boy, no kidding.
Mr. Monroe here? Would you like to give a brief update on what's going on with the sixth floor?
Yeah, why are we trying to put 1.7 million in it now when it's been closed down since statehood?
I've worked out a contract through the state. OMES has a job order contract program where they pre-qualify general contractors, and you can purchase general contractors now off state contract. Contract's ready to go, contractors selected. As soon as this money gets put into place, we might be under construction next month.
For what? I mean, what's this contract for?
Well, the floor's totally gutted if you haven't been up there. There's nothing up there.
I'm not allowed up there. So
So we'll put it back like it used to be.
When?
Only better.
When?
Starting next month.
And how long will that project take?
The contractor's optimistic that he'll have it done maybe in 6 months.
And that's what
I'm not quite as optimistic because there's still some supply chain problems, but I believe it'll be this calendar year.
That's what this 1.7 is to finish that out.
Yes, we're putting that with some money we already have.
Okay.
And the offices that will move up there when it's done are Mr. Ravitz and his public defenders, my office, and Commissioner Calvi's office.
So you all are just going to leave investors?
I think moving to the Investors Capitol building was always a temporary solution.
So was the sixth floor, but okay.
Okay.
We're all here temporarily.
Yeah.
Except for
Ruh-roh.
Except for Butch.
Hey. Yeah.
Okay.
And just to advocate for Mr. Robinson's team, I know it's hard for your attorneys to do their job when they don't have doors that close. And so this will make their jobs a little bit easier to actually have offices with doors that close. So
Thank you, Stacy, for letting Keith off the hook.
Yeah. Bring Keith up. I got questions for him.
Well, isn't it true though that we're using contractors out of county contractors now, correct?
Well, it's through OMES.
Right.
The reason was there was a change from
Right.
the auditor's office to where we can no longer act as our general contractor. And that's one of the biggest reasons for the $1.7 million increase, is because it's a huge increase on our cost to go out through the contractor. So we've been able to say, now it's going to save us a lot of time, and time is money.
Yeah.
So in saving time, did we add it in there where we can bring security in so these people can work at night? Did we add that to the contract so that they can work hours of the night?
They are going to be able to work nights and weekends, but we didn't specifically add.
I understand we have to do security if any of their people have ever been convicted of a felony or have an active misdemeanor.
I'm not
Is that
sure
not
about
true?
that.
I'm not sure. I was told that.
That's correct. So they're for anybody that works after hours, they have to go through a background check. In that background check, they get provided a badge. So
it just seemed it would make a little sense if we're going to get this job done in the construction business to have some security so that we could bring them in at night so we get this job done in 6 months.
Keith has people here around the clock.
that are not security oriented whatsoever. We've got 2 people here on the swing shift, 2 people here on the graveyard shift, and it's all they can do to cover the courthouse, this building, and the ICB. So if we need additional security, as we've experienced in previous construction efforts, we'll need to bring those people in, I'm sure, at additional cost.
Right. But we didn't put it in the contract to
No.
have that so that we couldn't, so we know we could do it. And as far as cost, our cost is up because, like myself, in construction, our cost is up 30–40%. And some things it's even doubled. So that's the
value
delay is the cost.
The value of this contract is $2.4 million, not including change orders.
Right.
Not including security, and not including any of the disruption we're sure to suffer as a result of them trying to move in and quickly get done what they're asked to do on the 6th floor.
now the floor is empty. It's completely gutted. Do they have to work nights and weekends, or can they do some of their work during the workday?
No, they're going to work during the workday.
Okay.
I mean, it's going to be growing pains.
Okay.
We're going to have to bear it
That's
and get
fine.
through this quickly.
Currently, they're planning on using the elevators.
No,
to
they changed
bring-
that.
They will
That's
use
the issue. They
elevators.
can't wish materials upstairs. They actually have to take them up.
We got a crane in the alley.
Before,
We'll go
Rick.
through the windows.
We're gonna take out a window, we're gonna put it through a window with a crane. We've got that.
Up front?
Yeah, no, out here in the alleyway. So we've thought about that.
Just don't use my windows.
We're definitely gonna use yours.
Okay.
That puts us on the second floor and we need to go to 6. So I hope we don't use yours.
I'm kidding.
It's never a simple process, as you all have learned.
Right.
Okay, Mr. Stein.
Thank you, Commissioner. We've been involved with technology in the assessor's office for a long, long time. Our mapping, our website, all sorts of information. Today, we have the Environmental Systems Research Institute representatives here to be able to give a presentation about magic and what we do with the data that we have and the information we have is magical. And we've been able to visit with all of you individually about how this technology can be utilized in your offices. And we're very excited about having some folks here who will be able to help us all understand. And the goal is to have the county begin the process of absorbing the costs instead of those costs being absorbed by one office. If we can all utilize the technology in a functional way and do wonderful things for the people who pay our salaries, then we'll all be in better shape and be more responsive to the public. Our friends from ESRI will be able to show you a short presentation. I'm going to have to leave at about 10:25 because I've got to go to another meeting.
You strapped us with this deal.
Previous
and you're
engagement with the realtor,
following you
Middle
out.
Moore Realtor. So you, but appreciate you being here. Thank you. And if you'd be kind enough to give us the overview, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Larry. Appreciate it. Just want to say thank you to everybody else for giving us this opportunity to come talk with you guys. GIS technology is definitely something.
Can you use the mic?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. GIS software is really a key staple of local governments all throughout the country. Here in actually Oklahoma alone, Oklahoma City, Midwest City, Norman, and several others actually have these types of agreements with us, which really the core foundation to get to around a EA enterprise agreement is it's really a contract that houses technology and software. Scroll down a little bit, dive in a little bit more. It's really just this housing bucket where you're going to be able to access this technology at a uncapped level at certain times, and others will be capped. Those capped and uncapped levels are determined by your needs and assessments that are out there. So drive through. But first, a little bit about Esri. Esri is the world's leader in mapping and analytics technology out there. We partner with other companies such as Microsoft, Amazon, and a whole host of thousands of others. There might be some that are one-off solutions out there, such as CityWorks. That's more of your asset management type of software, where all those integrate within and utilize GIS as kind of the backbone to connect data from one system to another. And we do have global offices all over the world. So GIS really provides a framework for creating and applying geographic data and analytic systems. Data has been increasingly growing within local governments where this data just sits, not being used. We provide the software and platform and the tools for you to be able to connect and use that data in powerful, meaningful ways, helping to drive business decisions, getting information at your fingertips as quickly and easily as possible. You're able to make decisions and share information in less time. In many instances where you start talking public safety, emergency management, this is lives saved, getting this information in the time that you need it in. And some of it is, all of it is, or could be real time, where you're getting this information in a emergency operations center, where it's constantly up and running and filtering through. So these capabilities, you heard me talk a little bit about the data, this authoritative data on the back end, connecting into other applications of how you're going to be able to visualize, collaborate with one another. This is going to connect a department to another, where data created in, say, a assessor's office for your land records, you have parcels. That's really the foundation of a lot of the work that the entire county does. Most everything starts with that type of asset and filters out into other analytical needs, from planning all the way into transportation or public safety. So here you're going to be able to analyze, make your decisions a lot faster, and the most powerful aspect to a GIS is to really integrate business systems. Again, you can connect from one software to another very, very easily in many instances, using GIS as that backbone, as I've mentioned, across your entire platform. So it is truly a IT network of business systems. So here I wanted to be able to showcase some of the applications and work that some of our other partners and customers have actually built out themselves. Everything from cemetery management down into abandoned properties, being able to manage those. These are just a few examples here, but I wanted to be able to showcase what some of its power actually looks like. Here's another one for urban design and planning. Here, you're talking about the transit-oriented development, getting into the more 3D components so that you can see what your buildings are going to look like as it's being built, as you can make adjustments to them. And a lot of these applications you can update on the fly as you're sitting there displaying it at a meeting like this to other citizens and residents out there to get their thoughts and input. You could actually make these choices and decisions while you're sitting here to get a different point of view, to spin the axis of the map and be able to see any sort of building shadows that might be coming from that, visual obstructions, and building in regulations. So if you have height requirements, if there's zoning regulations about what can or can't happen based on the building type, this will basically tell you what is possible based on the decisions you're trying to make within the application itself. So whether something can or can't be done, just based on the rules. Wanted to throw in the public health and social equity, just with everything around COVID right now going on. That's been one of the key drivers, which I'm sure most of you may have seen, the Johns Hopkins dashboard that was out there for most of 2020. That was all powered from Esri software. It wasn't our data, but it was our technology configured in a way for the public to see the impact of that pandemic, who and how many were actually affected, hospitalized. You saw how far you could drive down in that. And that's just using the power of the data and us being able to display it in various ways. But that's not where it stops. There's so many different ways for public health to be able to get this information. And most of us by nature are visual. So seeing things visually is much easier than something on a spreadsheet or on a Word document, or hearing it from me, just talking about it. Seeing is believing. And a lot of the times, that's how your information should be coming across, because the receivers want it that way. So it's been a very, very powerful system, especially now during the COVID pandemic. And I want to throw how the big issues, we definitely make an impact there as well. Anything from the oil and gas, renewable energies, driving down into the polar Arctic, being able to see information there. It's just that GIS is usable across the entire spectrum and globally. But it is also the most powerful local government tool there for your needs. So back to the enterprise agreement. This is, like I said, just the contract housing, which will be comprised of various softwares. Some are uncapped, some are capped, again, built on your needs. The benefits of this EA, instead of buying a la carte, meaning you purchase the exact software that your department needs just for your needs. This is going to allow you to optimize your spending. You will be able to make your impacts, build out your application so much faster, quicker, and reducing the cost of your overhead, time spent, to be able to get these things kicked out. The actual flexibility within the enterprise agreement is something that I think most of our customers find to be extremely valuable. Again, it's that you come up with a need where a challenge has come across and you're trying to implement a solution quickly. And instead of needing to wait to go purchase said technology from us, you've already got it there. You just activate it, deploy it, and go. Everything is scalable within the enterprise agreement, being able to ramp up and down, say for emergency type of events, where if right now with the cold weather, there was a massive ice storm, so say it's something like that had happened, you would have been able to get these user type licenses in the hands of your field staff that are out there responding to the actions that are going on, and being able to have a suite of public safety tools already ready to go so that you can serve those out in the field, serve your citizens and residents, getting that information out to them. If there's road closures because of what's going on, all of that can happen in real time for you. It's as it's happening, instead of needing to wait to go contract something. So you're really maximizing your value through this process. And I wanted to throw in a few different components of what the EA is made up of. This would be the existing software that is currently being used by various departments throughout the county right now. Those get rolled right in just as they are. We'd be adding a bunch of brand new software, again, added in based on the needs that we've assessed through discussion with various departments throughout the county. There's other components that go into this as well. Advantage program, this is a services-based component of that EA, meaning you are going to be getting Esri expert help to develop any applications out there or solutions, leading into premium support should that be needed. That is our escalated level of technical support, which you get our base level of technical support regardless, but premium support, they work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So anytime that there's an issue, emergency, you will have somebody from Esri to be able to connect with, whether it's 3 in the morning or 3 in the afternoon. So location intelligence is really the core foundation. We have various common patterns of use that we've identified of how our customers typically think and go through this process of being able to implement any of the desktop technology leading into web-based applications. And really the top rows are ones you're going to identify with quite a bit more. And those are the actionable components leading into the design and planning, decision support. Those are your more engagement type of patterns and how this technology could be used. But we use these patterns to be able to, connect the dots between your real world challenges being assessed or initiatives and goals that you might have set, driving into the actionable items of how to go about solving those things, meeting your goals. That's what these patterns of use typically mean. So engaging with your residents, engaging with other departments. Constituent engagement can mean so many different things. But I wanted to be able to run through and have Pam here kind of showcase what some of these could look like. And again, these are built on a foundation of a template type of system where you get access to a full suite of ready to go solutions that you can just quickly download, implement within your environment, whether that be your on a premise environment or leading into ArcGIS Online, which that is a cloud-based solution that we provide as part of our software.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing us to speak with you today. My name is Pam Kirsch. I'm a solution engineer supporting Oklahoma County, have been for many years, as Jacob has as well. And what we wanted to highlight for you today are the many uses of GIS technology. For many of you who may have heard of this in the past, you may be thinking that's a very difficult, complex technology, which it is at that end of the spectrum. However, it has matured into a technology that business users can use. Anyone who works in a spreadsheet can actually visualize that information on a map. So imagine all of that data that you are sitting on. You have mountains of data that may be sitting in tables. Now you have the ability for non-GIS users to be able to take that information, pull it into mapping applications, and visualize those patterns and trends on a map. So what we're looking at today are different examples of what we have solutions for out of the box, ready to go, and no coding required, just configuration. So you're taking your data and you're pouring that information into these templates and making them available internally, privately to your organization, or if you choose, to the public. So you control the access to this information and who has the ability to edit this information in a web environment if chosen. So what I'd like to do is to highlight to you a few of our examples of those patterns of use. In this one in particular, it's called Constituent Engagement. And this example is what we call a hub, where you can make this available to your constituents to give them your story and your message, your branding, your look and feel, so it's recognizable to those citizens as your organization. So this is an example of community performance where you can communicate to the public the metrics of how you're performing in your organization. And you can pull this together as applications, graphs, charts, maps, however you need this information to be communicated best. You can also visualize events for your organization and have that two-way interaction from the citizens to your organization and let them give you that feedback and then allowing them to get involved. Another example is what we call a dashboard application. And this one is for, there we go. Allowing your organization to work with citizens to review those crime problem areas and actually be able to pull together actionable reports from a collaboration with those citizens, being able to list out those problems, being able to scan new problems and see those community reviews, look at the analysis that is performed in this response and assessment. So going back to this, again, this is just one example of out-of-the-box applications that we have available, and we have hundreds of these available to you across all of those patterns. Another one is getting to know the capital projects solution. So this is a big one. You all have many projects going on throughout the county. How do you communicate the status of those projects internally and externally to the public? We have these solutions that allow you to be able to develop those and perform the planning for those projects internally, communicate the status to all of the stakeholders involved, the different departments, who needs to know the information about that, and being able to communicate that to the public as well. And that can happen in a map, it can happen in just statistics that are updated automatically, that you don't have to do that in a manual situation. If we take a look at this, we can try it live. We have all these examples available in this story map that you can use at your own leisure, and you can take a look at what this looks like.
Does that mean we could get rid of Stacy Trumbo? No, we got to keep him? Okay. Just want to make sure he can operate that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So here's an example of being able to take a look at those active projects going on. And again, this is a story map application. And all that information is filterable. So you can take a look at the parks, the sewers, the stormwater drainage. What's the phase, pre-design? When is it closed? What's the fiscal year? All of this is configurable, not like it has here, if you, it can be if you want, but you can also have it with the information you need in this application, just configuring it how you need it, no customization or coding necessary. The other great thing about our solutions is we maintain these solutions. We update those. You just consume them, and then you get to take the benefit of Esri maintaining all of the infrastructure behind these solutions.
Pam, I think that what we really, it's merely a matter of what do you want?
Exactly.
And what are you thinking you need to do? And there's, the clerk's office, of course, is using this now. We're using this now. We
Mhm.
expect everyone on this board in all the different departments could use it as well. And today, when we're trying to begin the process of entering that process of an enterprise agreement, it's just magical, the things that you can do, and it's a matter of dreaming to be able to better serve our customers. And I appreciate everybody's participation to be able to get to here. And I guess we need a motion to be able to enter the process to begin the enterprise agreement, and I'd be happy to offer that.
I'm not sure what that motion means. What are we doing?
Well, we're beginning the process of becoming involved with all of us together instead of just having one department involved in the process of the ESRI technology.
Is your motion to look at having us all involved or actually?
I would
That we are involved.
I think we're going to be involved, and I would make a motion to approve should we make a motion to approve the enterprise agreement, Mike? Do we have that finalized? So we're entering the process to complete the enterprise agreement. You want to get to the microphone?
This is just the time frame that we would come together to talk about the implementation of a project, something of this nature, and then look forward to perhaps adopting it or what it would take to adopt it as we work into the next fiscal budget. Because we do know that funding sources will have to be looked at. Whatever your needs are may be changeable what our needs are. And so the whole idea today is just really to bring this information to your attention so that you have a better understanding of what we're talking about as we begin the budget process in the next couple of months, because we know that that's going to start March and April. And just kind of keep it in the back burner of your mind as we work this, so that when we talk about an EA, you have some relation as to what it means. And they'll give you some opportunities before that time to go out and see some of those things on your own. Or Jacob and Pam and Greg will be here today and partially tomorrow. So if you want to set a one-to-one session with them, they would gladly set some time alone with you and bring your exact examples in and show you more than likely some things that are already being done that are very similar to what your needs would be. Okay, yeah, Greg is local. He's former City of Midwest City GIS Director. He now works for ESRI, but I think you've already mentioned that City of Midwest City already has this agreement in place. City of Oklahoma City has this agreement in place. What we're seeing is more and more of us are coming together utilizing this type of service and technology, that it would make sense that we would approach it from a broad standpoint rather than individual clients or vendors or contracts. Because by doing that, it's going to share those costs associated with us, bring those costs more in line with what we think they should be, but open up those avenues and abilities to you and your constituents. And that's really our goal today, is just to bring this to you to light so that you have an understanding of what we're talking about as we move forward. So, but there won't be really an action required for today necessarily. So.
And can you see the treasurer's office needing this?
I'm gonna have to have a lot more information on it. Probably the Midwest City gentleman that came out of Midwest City. To answer your question, I cannot visualize exactly where I'm going to get the value out of it as a county treasurer.
Well, I could see your point would be your property resale, that you would have an active map service with dots or stars to show where all these properties are available. Because from our perspective, people are always coming in after you do your publication. They're wanting to know where these properties are, because as an investor, I only invest in property, say in the city of Bethany or city of Edmond. Well, without looking through that big stack of printouts, I could see visually on a map. I could even highlight them, circle them, bring those reports down as an individual or someone from the public, so that it would really facilitate, I think,
But
the
you
ability
sold every
for.
single property this year, right?
I have,
So it's
Yeah.
not like we're not.
we need the advertising. We're selling, you're right. We've moved every single one of them.
What about the sheriff's office?
You know, we sat down with Mike and Tim from the assessor's office, and I think we could utilize it from, like, you know, doing crime maps and heat maps for, you know, if we have a certain amount of crime that's in a certain area, you can populate that on a map. I think that'd be beneficial for us to be able to send that information out. Or, I mean, any number of things. It don't necessarily have to just be crime. It could be, you know, traffic crashes or some of those other things that are happening. I mean, really, when we sat down and looked at it, I mean, if you can dream it up, you can put it on a map that citizens can see and understand visually. So I think the sheriff is,
But Oklahoma City's already doing it, right? So this would be just to talk about the unincorporated areas or towns, the other remaining towns.
well, and it's even my understanding that, yes, to answer your question, but I think in addition to that, it would also allow us to, coordinate with them as well and utilize and leverage some of that technology as well. They'd be able to speak up.
You would be able to have a collaboration like with the Fusion Center as well, to be able to see, you know, share information between, excuse me, between agencies, county agencies, cities, federal agencies that are using the Fusion Center.
But I'm saying it's not like your objective to go back and start working in Oklahoma City.
Right.
Because you see a crime wave in Oklahoma City
Right,
or Edmond or Midwest City or whatever.
Right.
This would really be to establish if there's a crime wave in unincorporated.
Not necessarily. I mean, you'd be able to have the sheriff's office catalog every entity and every incident they covered in the entire county. And they'd be able to know where their manpower is. They'd be able to monitor where their cruisers are, their patrol officers. We visited with Commissioner Blumert this morning. There's a plan on here to be able to designate where there's a pothole, where there's weeds that need to be cut down or trees need to be cut down so you can see the stop signs. All of those things are available to be used through this program very simply and through a cell phone, through a laptop, where you can manage the repairs of streets or mowing or anything else. It's a way of being able to facilitate just about everything you do in the county with the road projects, the trimming, the grasses and sales of property.
Really-
And it's all based on the
really for,
technology of the
like,
parcel.
For like public safety, kind of the things you were talking about there, everything you said, yes, 100%. But GIS could be used from a life cycle end to end of all the duties that they do. 99% of everything that goes on is visual, and you can address those things through a map, through a dashboard, to see everything that's going on, from both the crime to actionable items. Whether you're looking at your cruisers in real time, where they are, you have some sort of event happen, so dispatch then receives the call. That can be actually integrated into the Esri foundation of suite of solutions you may have. And they need to know the closest cruiser to that incident. Well, now you're going to be able to send that cruiser out because you know exactly where they are and how close they are to the incident that's happening.
You don't
So it
have
starts with
GPS on your
dispatch.
vehicles already?
I was gonna say, you don't know where your people are?
We do have a system we currently use for that, yes.
Okay.
US
And we already have a constituent reporting with problems that MIS has already built for us. Do you have a use for this in the court clerk's office?
We could always use help with data management, but I'm not sure you guys could help us. That's the question I would have to find out and look into. Really, what we do is keep records.
But you
Yeah,
also
the
ask
state.
people to come down to the court, and you could be able to map where you're asking people who's coming down to the court to be able to be on jury duty and other things, and even be able to notify them regarding what's going to go on with traffic and what they should do if they're going to be coming down. There's the applications for the court clerk. When you're looking at the records that you have, that may not be as applicable as the others, but when we're dealing with property, crime, and records and all of the other monumental things that the county does across the county, it's extremely important for what we do. It's extremely important for anybody having to do with land.
We're
But
very
just-
open-minded. We'd be willing to listen.
Yeah.
But
Our
this-
our technology platform is extremely vast. It's very I'll say difficult to get the full concept for each individual department in what you guys do. That point across in just a short presentation, which is where we would love to meet with all of you individually and assess what are your challenges, what are your goals, what do you do, and let us align the various technology components that could be a part of this EA with what you do and how it's going to be beneficial for you guys. And so therefore you can see the actionable components and where that ROI is going to come into place. It's going to solve your real world business challenges in many instances, or support that growth through enterprise to enterprise business systems, where you may already be able to see your cruisers on a map, but that is an enterprise business system that GIS is going to be able to enhance. So you may be able to analyze the routing of where those cruisers are going, time spent doing XYZ activity, and by knowing that location and history of where they're at, you could use a dashboard to be able to analyze those time components, to be able to help save time, cost, the taxpayers' money, things like that. And again, that's just a little piece of a much larger puzzle.
I'm assuming all this data collection is subject to open records, so it'd be freedom of information. Does the DA have any concerns about assembling a dossier of sorts that is subject to any kind of a lawsuit liability?
We've not been included in any briefings, so I have no answer to your question. And without extensive study of the system, we wouldn't know.
Succinctly put.
Do you all have a cost estimate for if we were to enter into a contract with you all and make it available to every department? Do you have a cost estimate of how much that would cost?
Not necessarily, without having some individual conversations and knowing what the needs are. We have a technology platform that's well over 2,000 products, and not all of them would be included in the EA because of cost reasons. You will get a right-sized proposal based on those needs. But from some of the base conversations I've had with Mike and Larry, our best guess right now is going to be somewhere around 350,000. Somewhere between, we'll say 250 and 300.
Okay.
Have you talked to our IT department?
Yes.
Okay. How would you interface with them?
That's more likely where the base technology components would be housed from. So they'd be able to maintain the back end and topical type of information. The actual physical licensing itself is something that could be handled by currently Tim within Mike's office. And that's essentially just issuing that licensing out, which is handled slightly differently. But the data, the servers, essentially, all managed by IT.
All we want to do is start dating. We don't want to get married yet. We're just trying to figure out how we might be able to date and what kind of things we bring to the table for the dating process.
Okay, I'll accept that analogy, but bullshit, but okay.
Let me ask.
We're still back, we are still back to where it's our data, which we have to provide to you.
No.
Okay?
We do not get involved with your data. All we're giving you is a housing environment to basically filter, add to, and analyze your data. You have full control over all of it. We cannot see anything. All we're giving you is the software. Has nothing to do with Esri from a personnel standpoint to manage your data. You manage it.
You have to think of it in what's called a hub presence. It would be no difference than where you stand today, that the hub is me. We do our data, you do your data, you do your data, but we all have access to that data. We all have the ability to present that information in different ways and different needs. So it's not we're taking our data and giving it to somebody. We still manage and control all of our data. They're just giving us the tools to bring those resources together, whatever projects or needs that we have.
There's another analogy I can give.
For 350,000, and I understand that's just pulling it out of the air. Okay.
Yeah.
So, excuse me, with all these other partners that you have, Midwest City, Oklahoma City, so on and so forth, and Edmond, what I'm looking at is layers. So like when we're building roads and bridges and such, you said that you don't manage or keep their data. Is that data available to us inside of different layers
Yes.
when we go through and do projects.
Yes, so that will be available to you based on your administrator of your ArcGIS Enterprise or ArcGIS Online. You would then have a user type to be able to access that information. If that user type is granted access to see those layers, then yes, but you manage the security and control over who can see what. We don't manage that. That would be someone that's hired by Oklahoma County. But one of the other ways that you could visualize Esri software is think of it like Microsoft Office, Excel. Microsoft does not have access to view what you're putting into a Word document or Excel document. This is the same exact concept. It's your data, you're building it within your software that you can then share to other people, like you can share a Word document. Similar type of concept.
Mr. Davidson, were you asking about being able to see like Edmonds data or Midwest Cities data?
Yeah, so like the commissioners, a lot of times we partner with the cities to build roads. If we know where their sewage is and where all these other items are, we're able to move a little quicker, I would think. That's
Yes, municipalities who have this type of software and this type of system put in place, it makes it a little easier for them to share that kind of information and that data to you and or just to the folks that are using the software. So it's not something that is just currently available to the public. Just if anybody has Esri software, they can get to it. It's going to have to be a collaboration between the county and the city as far as being able to share that information. But this makes it a lot easier to be able to see it, to visualize and be able to use and analyze that information from them.
And I will say it's also pending that that organization has the data even available inside of a GIS environment. So that would be another challenge, is if that city or organization has not put their sewers and sewer lines into a graphical view for it to be consumed by your GIS environment.
We're starting to see more of those.
Yes. That's still extremely common right now to have that data available. Most all the cities around here, at least the larger ones, do have that type of information readily available.
Yeah, I know the Oklahoma City does, and several times we've done projects that I've looked at their information and thought, well, that'd be nice to have for some of the things that. Let me ask this: as we begin new projects, is there a way in this environment that we're able to look at the map and go through and do some sort of estimation of materials and build a project and know what I'm going to need to budget for an individual project?
Yeah, so that would be pending on how you set up that, application first and foremost, but behind that would be the data. Is that information available in the data? Is that part of the data stream? Then you can utilize the software and that application to filter those components down to something that is consumable by you, whether it be in a dashboard type of setting where you have just boxes that are telling you the numbers with maybe a map that's there, or any other analytical or graphical method to view that information. But it's, does the data exist first and foremost? And is it in a more consumable format by a GIS-based system? So it starts with the data and then comes back out.
Stacy, are you still around here? Hey, so we just spent some money getting our roads and bridges inspected, laser, whatever. Is this something that could be put into this system so we can start tracking and building out our projects in the future and have a visual of that, or is this?
Yeah, we already we're on the Esri platform already. Engineering department is. We've got 2 licenses.
Okay.
So we use this for planning and zoning mostly. We've got our bridges in the platform. We just need to build more layers. We would probably take advantage of some of the modules that we don't have because we just have a basic platform. So it's a good program.
Is it the same program you're using, or can we supplement? Is this a supplement thing, or is this a replace thing with what you got?
It's in existence with what they were. That's what I wanted you guys to kind of talk a little bit about. Butch to talk a little bit about money.
Microphone.
That in regards to Butch's request about or talk about funding of that nature. What we're seeing is some of us are spinning up our own projects. We're buying some of the same licenses same systems. And it's really a replication of money and effort where if we were to approach this as a global perspective, then the opportunities go to everybody. And I know money is an issue for everybody. That is an instance, but at some point, if we all stand up instances with this in the future, then the cost greatly outweigh what the AA agreement would be, because it's going to come with licensing instructions. As you saw in the presentation, that all your existing licenses are rolled into this agreement already. Rather than having to go out and buy additional licenses, you're going to come up with license capabilities for unlimited resources, things of that nature. So it's instead of being separately, we're all in this as a whole, so that we're not replicating or duplicating efforts of each other. Really, that's what this approach is about.
Mike, of the 350,000, the rough cost of going into this agreement potentially, how much of that is the county already spending, like for the engineer in your office? I'm assuming that it's not 350 additional. I'm assuming that'd be the new contract total.
Correct.
Do you know, roughly speaking, what the county is currently expending?
I think our office is currently right at about the 100,000 range, somewhere in that range.
Just for the assessor only?
Just for our office only. I know that
We're a lot
Mr. Newton's
less.
office is already coming online with their services as well, so it's gonna be somewhere in that same neighborhood. So we're not looking at a brand new $350,000 or $250,000.
Expand upon that then. How many people right now, how many offices right now in this county are already involved and have some kind of a relationship with this company? You do an assessor, you do in, is there anyone else? County clerk?
Right.
David's getting ready to open his new site that will be very similar to ours, where you click on it, rather than obtaining ownership information, you would attain all of the document, like for deeds, mortgages, lien releases, all of that information. Where if we were to look at this as a county approach, we could push all that together as one service that we would all utilize and benefit from, rather than building individual platforms.
So are you paying for that out of special revenue?
It's very similar to what happens with Microsoft. We have to purchase Microsoft licenses, and I believe it's all done individually through MIS, through different offices. If we had an overarching contract where we could have unlimited licenses for a dollar amount that's certain every year, then we'd be able to accomplish the task with less expense. If we all individually use this technology, and every single one of us in one way or another can use this technology, we'll spend a whole lot more than the estimated cost. And I don't know if that's an accurate number or not. So and we would have unlimited access to the licenses instead of having to worry about somebody being able to be online or not having enough licenses in a particular department. It's a way of evaluating and being able to do it in a large, county-wide, instead of having to have individual departments use individual contracts to buy individual licenses that can be much more expensive on an individual per office basis than doing it countywide.
Think of it along the lines, I know that county is going through the Microsoft 365 program now, where we're all updating and going to that manner, where everybody has the same platform services from Microsoft 365. So that you still have the ability to use Word, Excel, PowerPoint, all of those different entities, rather than having to go out and buy individual licenses for that. It's a global approach.
And from that funding perspective, I had Pam pull this page up here. We have a bunch of resources around the federal funding that have come out since the CARES Act back last year, in terms of how you can use that funding to support and align your GIS software and services with your needs.
Well, it's gone anyway, so it doesn't matter.
So, just with the ARPA funding that's also out there.
Well,
that's what's CARES was where this started. There's ARPA infrastructure funding, other stuff. You can make the case.
You'll have to get in line to want to spend the ARPA money.
So I want you to know just that the funding streams are there, even if there's other grants out there. We've got record of
Okay, Larry, for your analogy, how much does it cost to date this girl?
Well, we're still trying to figure out if we're going to go out for lobster or hamburgers.
Well, do you have a proposal?
We don't. That's why we're trying to get into this meeting, so we can determine exactly the cost. But I can tell you that after we put everybody into one pot and we purchase it together, it'll be a lot less expensive than doing it individually.
Well, I'm just asking
And there's not a number here. I mean, we're gonna come back with a real number based on sitting down and sharpening pencils and getting a great deal, because ESRI is this is the premier entity worldwide. If we're not gonna do ESRI, then you're gonna have to patchwork and spit and paste and duct tape things to do the things that you wanna do with ESRI. It is a premier Rolls-Royce great entity, and everybody is using this. And if we're not gonna use this, then we're gonna be behind the times and we're not gonna be able to serve our customers. I don't know what the cost is, but all of us together would probably, if we all went out to use this technology, we'd spend substantially more than the amount that they have eventually finalized. And I don't know what it is.
To that point, EAs are priced based on your current needs, your challenges assessed. That's the technology that is then included inside of that EA. So as far as cost goes, I could definitely put something together for you guys rather quickly, but it may not meet all of your needs. I would hate to do something like that and it not meet your needs and it falls short of meeting your expectations of whatever that might be. That's where those individual meetings to just talk for a quick half hour gives us a better idea of what to include, which then I'd be able to give you a very accurate price.
Kind of like a 6th floor remodeling project, you're saying.
Really is, to a degree.
Can't get through the elevator though.
Yeah, we don't have like standard prices for certain things. We have one city that might pay $2+ million per year for what we have, and others that pay 200,000. It's just really, like I said, based on your need. We don't want to overcharge you for something, and we definitely don't want it to be undercharged, obviously, too.
So in order to put this together, if we committed this, you'd need a half hour each department, which I would assume includes our BOC, our individual departments like engineering and planning and.
That'd be whoever would like to meet with us. I mean, it doesn't have to be every single department, but those that would like to be involved with.
And as you're prospecting, do you have a billable hour for doing that? That's just.
I don't know. We are part of your account team as a whole because the assessors purchase software with us. You get us for the whole county. And we're here to help solve those problems, have these types of conversations with you. That's it. There is no charge for any of that. Ever.
I press my motion to permission to date.
Doesn't show up on my screen that you have.
Well, if I didn't, I'm sorry. I'll second it.
I'll second. You motioned, I'll second.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
I'd
Wait
like.
a minute, just a minute. May I ask a question, Mike? Mike, I believe you said a while ago, and I kind of think it makes more sense to me that maybe it's premature. What kind of a motion are we going to do now?
Did you say that you don't believe?
No, we don't need a motion.
There's no action necessary on this item.
That's my opinion.
Other than just to receive the report.
Absolutely. That's
the goal
of the day.
I think we're all.
Receiving the report.
I think we're all comfortable with you all continuing to meet with departments and figure out how this could look.
Yes, that's the goal, is if you have specific needs or questions, they are here for today and partial of tomorrow to set that time allotted to you for those needs. That will give them their perspectives as well as cost associated, so we can come back to you at some point in time, either if it's through the BET budget board process or budget process, that we would say it's X amount of dollars based upon the needs that we've received from each of the elected officials.
Okay.
And I would also have all those needs documented whenever we would kickstart things off. So you'll be able to see exactly what we assessed and what we think is going to hold value for these each individual groups.
Okay.
Is there any other questions for me?
Motion to receive, then we'll do that. Just to receive the report.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any citizens is there any further motions on your item, Mr. Stein?
No, sir.
Okay. Any citizens to speak today before the budget board? Board comments, we'll start with the assessor.
Thanks, Jacob. Thanks, Pam. Appreciate you being here. And also, happy birthday to Midwest City Mayor Matt Dukes from my hometown.
Butch?
I actually don't have anything. Thank you.
Miles?
Wait a second, because he'll think of something here.
Oh, you know what? No.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Rick?
Yeah, you know, we're all fighting the virus right now. In my office, we have 20 people off right now with it. And Brian mentioned the ARPA money and how you got to get a line. I hope in the future our budget board can meet and we can discuss how we can help our offices with some of that money, because in my office, we desperately need help. Thank you.
When you say need help, is there like substitute teachers? Do you need other employees to come down and fill in?
I need part-time employees. We need testing.
If we had employees that could come, are there jobs that they can just fill in, or they have to require a lot of skill and training, like to pull together to get you over this hump?
It's very skilled, very training. Yeah, like we've got right now, I've got judges that don't have clerks, they don't have bailiffs. We have currently, we have over 40,000 felony. We're bringing in Monday morning. We will have 500-600 jurors here. Now they have to know what they're doing. And so we have to bring them in, train them. And then afterwards, we won't need them. It'll be a temporary job, but this is going to get worse. Guys, this is going to get a lot worse.
Okay, Sheriff? Okay, new business. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.